6 o'clock, and we will start our February 23rd City Council meeting. We'll begin with roll call, please.
Sarchet?
Here.
Savage?
Here.
Dvorak? Hill?
Here.
Otis?
Here. Item number 3, approval of agenda. I'll ask for a motion in a second.
So moved. Second.
And roll call.
Otis?
Yes.
Sarchet?
Yes.
Savage?
good.
Savage?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Item number 4, public hearing. We have 2 public hearings. It's time to close the regular meeting and open the public hearing on amending the Polk City Comprehensive Plan. Susan, when was the notice published?
February 6, 2026.
Have we had any written comments received for or against amending the Polk City Comprehensive Plan?
No, sir.
Time, we'll have staff report. So the way this is going to go is that Travis is going to combine the presentations on both A and B into one presentation, but we will vote separately.
Correct. So for council's consideration tonight, as the mayor alluded to, are 2 interconnected items. The first being an amendment to the Polk City Comprehensive Plan related specifically to an area north of Northwest Hug Drive, west of what will be Northwest 9th Street, is now known as Northwest 72nd Avenue in the county. Part of the Four Seasons Polk City subdivision. So the proposed change is to add commercial ground to this area in an area which will be directly north of the Whitetail Parkway collector street that'll run east-west through the subdivision. There's a minor cleanup item too, as the concept has been modified from what was previously shown in the comprehensive plan. So we'll move some parkland around a little bit, but more or less stays the same. It just moves a little bit within the area. And then for the rezoning, it's a proposed rezoning from R1, which is what was previously approved back when the Four Seasons preliminary plat went through in 2021, 2022, to a C1 restricted zoning. So there's 2 pieces to that. The C1 zoning is meant to be more of a fringe commercial district that transitioned from a commercial district, specifically as it relates to uses that you would see in the town square, to a more residential feel. And so we've selected that as a more neighborhood commercial friendly option. And then with the C1 restricted zoning, we would restrict out all residential uses that are allowed in the C1 district. The idea being, if we're going through all this effort of changing this to a commercial district, let's capture that valuation through the commercial uses. We feel that this aligns well with the comprehensive plan's mission, or one of the goals of selectively and strategically adding commercial facilities in Polk City. The particular area we're talking about has an existing cell phone tower easement that a fair amount of that area is within the fall zone, which is not desirable for residential districts, but is a little bit more desirable and adds a little more has a little more flexibility within the commercial space. Be happy to answer any questions. One caveat to the way that we're doing these public hearings, I would ask that any questions specifically related to the comprehensive plan amendment be asked during this public hearing, and then anything related to the rezoning itself be held in the next public hearing. And then we've got Kelsey Scallon, the developer's engineer, on Teams, as well as Jared Ruckel, the developer, if you've got any specific questions for them.
Council? I did just have one thing. Can you maybe give me a better explanation of C1? I'm not sure what the neighborhood aspect of that is.
So the idea of the allowable uses within the C1 are they're not destinations. So they're not your large box stores. They're not your specific uses. It's things that the neighborhood or somebody that's already passing through the neighborhood would like to use. It's retail. It's more of your unique shops. C-stores, convenience stores would be located in those as well. Things that you're not specifically, I'm not driving from Ankeny to go to the Casey's up there, right? It's more of a, I'm driving to Big Creek State Park, I'm gonna grab a snack on the way kind of uses. Or I'm driving through the neighborhood and that antique store looks kind of cool. Like it's those kinds of uses, they're less intense and they're more easily, for lack of a better term, ignored by the neighborhood itself, where they don't cause a huge hindrance or a huge impact to the adjacent properties.
Thanks for the explanation. Council, again,
And you were saying that we wanted to restrict the mixed-use nature and not have any residential aspects to this, so.
With the idea being that we want to capture the commercial valuation if we're making this change, and a bulk of the north sanitary sewer trunk area is already that low to medium density housing, so we don't want ultimately to rezone this to C1 and then a bunch of apartments come into it kind of thing. So that's kind of the idea, is we want to really funnel a commercial, a neighborhood friendly commercial that benefits the neighborhood itself.
But if we were interested in a residential over commercial, that would still be something we're trying to restrict out here.
That is correct.
all right, thank you, Travis. So next I'll ask if there's anyone present who wishes to be heard for or against amending the Polk City Comprehensive Plan. No one present then. I need a motion then to close the public hearing and reopen the regular meeting.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
And we need roll call.
Hill.
Yes.
Otis.
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Savage.
Yes.
So item 4A1, resolution approving amended Polk City Comprehensive Plan. I'll ask for a motion and a second on that.
So moved.
Second.
And a roll call.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Savage.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Otis.
So we'll move on to public hearing 4B then. It's time to close the regular meeting and open the public hearing on the proposed rezoning of property owned by Ledgestone Properties LLC. When was the notice published, Susan?
February 6, 2026.
Have we had any written comments for or against the proposed rezoning of property owned by Ledgestone Properties LLC?
No, sir.
At this time, we'll have a report from anything to add.
So one thing that the council does have the option to do is that because this has multiple readings, if there are specific uses like the residential over commercial that you would like to request the developer consider, that is something that you could do, and then we could amend that on the second and third reading, if that's something you wish to pursue.
Any questions of Travis, council?
Yeah, so Travis, looking at in the packet, the rezoning petition map, on that, page number, sorry, but are the blue lines to the north and east, the city limit boundaries? And where I'm going with this is, I know we've got properties, so I think this is a positive move. Appreciate the developer bringing it forward proactively in this way. I don't want people to get caught off guard, and I think we may have non-residents just outside of the borders that are impacted here that aren't required to receive a notice, both to the north and the east, so.
You're correct. We only send notices to residents
Yeah,
of the city.
so I don't, look, we don't have to do the letter of the law notifying them, as long as we can notify them one way or another, and we've got 2 more meetings worth of procedure to go through here, so, without being too prescriptive, if we could just cast a little bit wider net to some of those folks. And I know that's not an easy thing to do, because again, if it's very cut and dry where, 500 foot, 1,000, whatever, but, I do think there is a couple houses, a few houses, I should say, in the north and kind of a neighborhood to the east that hopefully is aware, and I don't think, would be, objecting in any way. I just, again, would appreciate a little bit wider net on the notice.
We've not traditionally sent notices to non-residents. If that's something the council would like us to do, we can do that. If you can give us an idea specifically who those are. We want to make sure that we would hit the right addresses that
Meaning
you're
the one-
asking for.
The ones up 72nd.
Sorry.
Are you meaning the ones up 72nd north?
Yes.
Yeah, and
There's
those
about-
are pretty straightforward. I think there's 3 or 4 houses following that. And some may not even be houses. I think there's just a farm, a non-house farm. But where it gets a little messier are the ones to the east. So have we annexed north of Hug and east of 72nd?
No.
Okay, so I'm thinking there's maybe a few there that, I don't know. I know this is a straightforward thing that practically gets messy to implement. And I don't want to slow anything down, don't get me wrong.
I just want to make sure that we've got clear direction from the council on this. If you want us to send notices to those residents, we certainly can. Are you going to change your practice of future rezonings that we would do this as well? If it's someone right outside of a rezoning matter?
It's not a bad idea, and I know you could probably make an argument that we're spending time on and money on non-residents, but these state-required circles aren't huge, and so the scenarios like this, like in my head, there's probably less than 10, maybe 15, maybe, and so we're not talking about a ton of cost or a ton of time. So as long as it's this kind of thing, I don't know that would be a bad practice to add as a courtesy, those, because, what's going to happen in 20 years, they are going to be residents, and maybe not literally them, but that property will be, and I think it's a good gesture.
Could we have this as a takeaway to discuss at the next working session?
We can certainly do that. I was going to say, if you're going to change your notification process, that really should be done by ordinance.
Yep.
And you probably would want planning and zoning to review that as well.
Right now, we notify by state law, correct?
I don't know if it's by state law, but we notify residents within city limits, within 200 feet of the 250 feet of the property. I do not know that necessarily matches state law because I'm not familiar with what the requirement would be. But
Okay.
that's what our code says and that's what we follow. I would say, I think I'm under the impression you want a few properties to the north of this rezoning notified, which we can certainly do. We'll notify them of the second and third reading dates. If you want to make changes to the ordinance, though, we'd have to bring that back at a future meeting for the council to consider.
Yeah, and I prioritize it as you see fit. It's
Okay.
not an urgent issue, but this has come up before where people catch wind of things online, and for the amount of effort and the number of times it happens, it's probably in our best interest to just be a little bit more proactive and let the circle be the circle.
Okay.
Do others think differently? I don't want to, if we're,
I think that's reasonable. I mean, then we run into the issue of making sure they understand that they don't actually have say in the rezoning other than to voice their opinions. But, I mean, mild confusion, but I think it's worth letting them know what's happening.
yeah, we ask people to state their address, and we can maybe make the stipulation that, feedback from residents is different than non-residents. That's reasonable.
Okay, anything else? Thank you, Travis. Anyone present who wishes to be heard for or against the proposed rezoning of property owned by Ledstone Properties LLC? I'm seeing and hearing none. I need a motion then to close the public hearing and reopen the regular meeting. So motion in a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
And roll call.
Hill,
Yes.
Otis,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Savage.
Yes.
So moving on to 4B1 then, first reading of ordinance 2026-400, approving rezoning from R1 to C1. I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
And roll call.
Savage,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Otis,
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Moving on to item number 5, public comments. This is the time and place for comments for any item other than those that are a public hearing. Ron, I know you want to say something, so come on up.
I'm just here to say a few words about Dennis Dietz, who was long-serving citizen of Polk City, volunteer. We decided, or at least 14 years on the Planning and Zoning
Hey,
Commission.
Ron, you get a little closer to the mic. I don't think.
Okay, sorry. It was long time serving, at least 14 years. And when you went to a meeting, Dennis was that guy. He was the guy that was prepared. He had done his homework. He was ready, very vocal, a lot of help to us as council people, I felt like, and just a pleasure to work with the man. I also had coffee with him and got to know him quite well, and just a super nice guy. Moved here from Ames, I think for the same reason a lot of people did, was to be closer to grandkids. And in Ames, he served on the school board, and I heard good things about him up there, and I just wanted to make sure he was recognized and that everybody knew what a citizen he was and how we need more like him. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
Thanks, Ron.
Thanks, Ron. And if I can, I'll add a little bit too, because I served with Dennis on P&Z, and Ron's right. Nobody was more prepared than Dennis. But the other thing that I learned from him is he did a really good job of putting himself in that area's shoes and kind of, what's this going to look like to live next to? What's this going to feel like for the surrounding areas? And there are a couple people a few people, I should say, that did that. And Dennis was, like Ron said, one of those that when he spoke, it made sure to listen, and he had some really good points. And I'd love to point to one building or area that's better because of Dennis, but there are probably a lot of developments and a lot of areas that are a little bit better and laid out in a better way than maybe they would have been because of his feedback. So, and it sounds like I didn't know this totally, but he served a lot of areas for a long time. So, big loss.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else who has public comment? We'll move on then to item number 6, which is consent items, and I'll ask for a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
And roll call.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Savage,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Otis.
Yes.
Item number 7, business.
Sorry, Steve, I'd want to call out both items I and J. A lot of people on the fire department do a really good job, but I'm a little nostalgic on a couple fronts tonight, apparently, towards Bryce, and very happy and proud of him joining full-time. I was on when Ross joined, or when Bryce joined, and it's very fulfilling to see young adults come find their groove. Bryce is now, I don't think he was a resident when he joined. He is now married with kids and now working full-time. So, and I don't know how much he's saved us with his mechanics knowledge, but it's not a small number. Thousands, yeah. And just a great guy too. So, very happy to see him coming on full-time.
Yeah, we're in a time period of growing within the department and promoting internal growth. And Bryce kind of voiced when he got promoted to lieutenant a couple of years ago that being full-time on the fire department was something he had thought about. And we had never heard that before. So that was sort of a shock to us. And it's exciting to see that come to fruition.
Yeah.
He'll do really well.
Thanks for adding that, Tanner.
Okay. Susan, we're roll call, right? Have we had roll call?
Yes.
Okay, we've had roll call. Okay, moving on to item number 7, business item A, third and final reading of ordinance 2025-1300, an ordinance for vacating city-owned property located near East North Side Drive. Travis?
So this is kind of atypical for a third reading, but kind of wanted to bring everybody up to speed, particularly because we have new council members that didn't see the first 2 readings of this. But so this item is vacating a portion of the existing East North Side Drive right-of-way east of the maintenance facility along the frontage of what will be known as Sunrise Ridge. The purpose of this is right now we have excess right-of-way that kind of applies right-of-way permissions and responsibilities along that property. The idea is that we're going to bring that right-of-way into what we now consider our standard arterial street right-of-way, and then apply easements as needed beyond that to facilitate the development and platting along Sunrise Ridge Plat 1, as well as what will be, I think, Sunrise Ridge Plat 2. So, just kind of a cleanup item as the city continues to inherit streets that are in old county right-of-ways and roadway easements, getting that line work cleaned up, bringing them into a standard width so that we know what we've got, and then applying easements. Staff is supportive of this. The first 2 readings occurred back probably in July, August, September, somewhere in that ballpark, and then we've held the 3rd reading until such time the final plat was ready to approve, which you guys approved as part of the consent agenda.
Any questions of Travis? None? Okay. So thank you, Travis. We will move on to item 7A, third and final reading of ordinance 2025-1300, an ordinance for vacating city-owned property located near East North Side Drive. We need a motion and a second, please.
So moved. Second.
And roll call.
Otis,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Savage,
Yes.
Hill.
Item number 8, reports and particulars. We'll begin with staff. Anything from staff? Okay. Anything from the city manager?
I don't have anything. Thank you, Mayor.
How about council? Nothing? And I don't have anything either, so we'll move on to item number 9, which is adjournment. I'll ask for a motion and a second to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Second?
And roll call.
Do we do roll call for this?
No. Yeah, just all in.
Oh, sorry, all in favor say aye. Sorry, threw you off there. Anybody opposed, same sign.
Yes.
Hearing none, we are adjourned until March 9th.